The world lost a prolific agent of change with the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And coming up next, I have heartfelt words of honor and praise by eloquent leaders, Donald Trump's non-eloquent exploitation of the moment, and those who are putting him on blast for his crass and hostile words. I'm Dan, and thank you for watching Occupy Democrats. Please join us as we expose every destructive, disgusting, and undemocratic moment by Trump by hitting that subscribe button. Let's begin with a lesson for Trump on how to be a statesman with messages of empathy and honor that are appropriate for the moment, and then I'll share his inappropriate bluster and the backlash that followed. Here's what Joe Biden said. Throughout our decades of friendship and partnership, I've known Reverend Jackson as history will remember him, a man of God and of the people, determined and tenacious, unafraid of the work to redeem the soul of our nation. I've seen how Reverend Jackson has helped lead our nation forward through tumult and triumph. He's done it with optimism and a relentless insistence on what is right and just. Whether through impassioned words on the campaign trail or moments of quiet courage, Reverend Jackson influenced generations of Americans and countless elected leaders, including presidents. Reverend Jackson believed in his bones the promise of America, that we are all created equal in the image of God and deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives. While we've never fully lived up to that promise, he dedicated his life to ensuring we never fully walked away from it either. And for more Trump contrast, here's the dignified words of a fellow current president. Emmanuel Macron, the leader of France, posted, companion of Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, tireless advocate for civil rights, he never ceased to defend peace, justice, and fraternity. He shared the values of the universal enlightenment at the heart of our Republican project. His passing is an immense loss. So that's how glorification of a titan should happen. Now have a look at the self-glorification and grievance aired by Trump, and then I'll share the reactions. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. I knew him well long before becoming president. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people. Despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. I provided office space for him and his Rainbow Coalition for years in the Trump building at 40 Wall Street, responded to his request for help in getting criminal justice reform passed and signed when no other president would even try, single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, which Jesse loved, but also which other presidents would not do. Responded to Jesse's support for Opportunity Zones, the single most successful economic development package yet approved for black businessmen/women, and much more. Jesse was a force of nature like few others before him. He had much to do with the election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Hussein Obama, a man who Jesse could not stand. And now for some select reactions to Trump using Jackson's passing to boast and blast Obama. Brooklyn shared, Trump will probably delete the self-serving post about his friend Reverend Jesse Jackson when he starts to see how the Reverend really felt about Trump. Make America worse than it ever was.
Well, he is. He's leading a countercultural revolution. He's trying to undo the protected right to vote, women's rights, workers' rights, refugees and immigrants, and a war with Mexico. It's part of his backward surge, make America worse than it ever was. Equate those who vow a race war, who vow to maintain the legacy of bigotry and the civil and the race supremacy. The civil rights protest is not a fair equation. And such an equation has emboldened the white supremacists, has emboldened the neo-Nazis. He sees them as his base. But the fact is, as President of the United States, we're all his base. The military is his base. All taxpaying Americans are his base. He sees us through a keyhole and not through a door. We're all under one big tent. But he sees us as a few in and many out, and it's not working. Well, the emperor has no clothes. He engaged the movement to make President Barack Obama illegitimate by saying he was not born here. So a Mexican federal judge cannot dispense justice properly. He sought to ban the refugees and the immigrants. It's been a consistent pattern.
Angel Jones, Ph.D., said, while Trump is on Truth Social acting like him and Reverend Jesse Jackson were besties, let's let Jesse speak for himself.
Well, I want to see us in this year use our collective vote to defeat Donald Trump. Trump represents something dangerous to America, using the presidency for personal gain, without enforcing the environment laws in our Constitution, playing on racial fears. In Africa and the Caribbean are S-holes. The S stands for. A Mexican judge was incapable of being judicious. The Charlottesville situation where you had the white supremacists march with tiki lamps challenging Jews, banning Muslims. He's done some awful stuff to America, and we cannot afford that. We're more isolated in the world. We are isolated from the G7 countries. We're isolated from our neighbors in Canada and Mexico. We deserve better leadership in this. I want to see Trump defeated.
King GT posted this video reminder entitled, Jesse Jackson, Donald Trump saw a lie as a victory.
He saw a lie as a victory. Therefore, he was speaking to the audience that he mobilized around fear and ignorance in the first place. If he were sincere, he would apologize to President Barack Obama for disparaging his name and his family name, or to Hillary Clinton, as the case may be, or to America. That was no apology, just a declaration of victory that somehow he validated President Barack Obama's Americanness. His mother and father did that. Trump did not do that.
Reverend Jackson, if just following up on that question, if Donald Trump were to issue such an apology, would you believe it?
It'd be very difficult in that after he's burned the house down, then he apologized amidst the ember and the smoke. He has used these last 7 years to mobilize the anti-Martin Luther King, anti-civil rights, anti-Barack's victory forces into a solid force of fear and anger based upon that lie. It was an attempt to take away President Barack Obama's legitimacy, to make him illegitimate. In some sense, as he's done to try to make Mexican judges illegitimate, or to make Mexican immigrants illegitimate, to make Muslims illegitimate. This idea of taking away people's legitimacy is taking away their humanity. It's not right, it's not fair, and it's not for blacks. And all people of goodwill should say no to this kind of discrediting scheme. The issue is not these one-liners day to day. He shoots a one line, she responds to one line. This issue is about the protected right to vote. There have been 395 schemes to restrict voting since 2010. It's about livable wages. It's about working poor people. It's about temporary workers. It's about student loan deficits. It's about bank lending. Issues that matter bottom up are not being addressed in this tit-for-tat day. When an eagle flies low and gets caught on the ground, it's the eagle's fault. She should keep flying high on issues that really matter.
And to stick a dagger in Trump's claim about Obama, I'll give the final word to Brooklyn, who reminds us of Jackson's true feelings. Trump could never elicit such an emotional response from any significant person in history. Rest in power, Reverend Jesse Jackson.